Hi everyone, Mike White here. Welcome to this week's blog post. I just want to start out by saying in typical South Florida summer fashion, there are a series of thunderstorms rolling through the area at the moment. So if there's some glitches in the picture or you hear some noise in the background, just accept my apologies for the fact that no one controls Mother Nature, and it is the way things work occasionally here in Florida. I do want to talk about today, a lot of information that's coming out there and a lot of the feedback I'm getting from the street about the sheer abundance of opportunities. It appears that anyone in our industry, every company, everybody that I'm speaking to, borderline overwhelmed on the number of transactions that they're in front of, pipelines that they're managing, people that they're trying to help, systems that are overloaded, many people delaying the ability to do transactions or pushing out timelines simply because of the sheer volume. And, it makes me think about the people that I talk to and the ones who are maybe not doing as well as they could or should be right now. And I think everybody has to look and realize that it's not for a lack of opportunities. I mean, to be honest with you, numbers coming from every direction, they're all huge between refinances and purchase opportunities that are out there for any number of reasons. There is a lot of momentum between, again, new purchases, resales, and refinances. And pressure is coming amazingly strong from first-time home buyers. Many of those people who want to get out of the rental environment while rates are low. Many people are really seeing the value between rent versus own. And I think when you add that into the mix of people who are really looking at their forever home situation, and if they're currently living in the place that they want to be in, or if they're not, is now the time to make that happen. And we're seeing, again, in all markets across the board, houses literally being sold within moments or days of being listed, which leads me to suggest that many of the metrics that people use to measure things like housing inventory are in need of being, analyzed, revamped, and looked at, because many of the houses that are quote unquote in the inventory that we have right now are houses that have been there a while, simply because those houses are, severely overpriced, out of the market homes where people are literally just put a price tag on them and are going to wait out if the market eventually catches them. So I don't think the way traditional metrics are used to understand inventory or the value of what any of that means really needs to be looked at, simply because, again, more and more we're seeing houses that are coming onto the market and disappearing in days. We're seeing increasing numbers of transactions, yet lower housing inventories. And if that is a trend that's been going on for quite some time now, how is it possible that there's any inventory at all when we constantly are having more sales than houses that are in inventory? And it's simply because those houses never make the reporting session. They came on and they were gone. And in many markets in this country, that's a situation that they've been familiar with for many years. I also think COVID-19 makes a lot of people think about where they live and what their priorities are, whether it be working from home, homeschooling, the limited ability to be out socially. It has made the home, the place that we live, obviously more important. And for some, the thought of renting any longer can make them more upset, more concerned, and potentially more ill than actually getting sick. And I can understand, with all the pressure on, social distancing and whatever, there are people who are living in apartment buildings right now, when they hear a neighbor walking down the hall and coughing or sneezing, it scares them, it petrifies them. And what about those, heating and cooling systems? We're finding out more and more that places may not have, systems in their buildings that treat the air much like they do. I mean, here in Florida, it's almost standard that we have systems in our heating and cooling units that eliminate bacteria and mold and that. But that's not a standard practice across the country. And in many places, we're seeing that those things are things that need to be addressed on a large scale. When we get back to the opportunity front, there's something that is a bit of a eye opener, if you will, that came out from Freddie Mac. And Freddie Mac has estimated that there are more than $11 trillion. That's $11 trillion, or 11 million in current mortgage obligations that are more than 0.5% higher than current interest rates are, and would benefit from potentially refinancing. And when you think that in the mortgage market as a whole, in a quote unquote normal year, you're dealing with a $1 to $2 trillion market, 11 trillion in available refinance business is 5 to 10 years work just on its own. Forget the fact that we're having, huge purchase business volume. So when you think about those things, it's important. Now, clearly, I understand between COVID-19 and unemployment and potential credit issues and forbearance, that a lot of those mortgages that are eligible to be refinanced may not be able to be refinanced because of the customer circumstances. But what if half of them were? Now, I understand we've got 20% or 10% unemployment, depending upon what you want to look at. But if I even run that number to 50%, if 50% of those mortgages that are 0.5% higher or more can't be refinanced because of economic conditions, that's still over $5 trillion worth of loans. That's 3 to 5 years worth of work all by themselves. So you have to ask yourself, if you're not getting in front of your fair share of these opportunities, it's your systems, it's your schedule, it's the way you're approaching this business that you really need to think about. Because if you're not getting in front of what is likely going to be the greatest opportunity in your career, you have to ask yourself why. And if you're not sure why that is, why don't you give me a call or send me an email, mike@imtcoaching.com, and let's see if we can't help you get your fair share. So take care this week, be safe, enjoy the opportunities, and we'll talk to you again next week. Take care.